don't even know if a sit down can actually restore the situation. It's just more so it's an olive branch. Like if you up for it, I'm up for it. I'm definitely willing to sit down with him and so I can hear his perspective and gain a little bit of understanding. I mean, like, we're both men at the end of the day.
No, I don't think the relationship works. Look, for a long time, man, I went running behind him. I went places that he went, and he left the places.
So, oh gosh, you know how they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? Well, Marquise Jackson, 50's son, just proved that by diving headfirst into this absolutely wild situation between his dad and the Meech family. And trust me, he's not just dipping his toes in, he's straight up trolling them. But here's where it gets really interesting. Word on the street is that 50 Cent was not happy about his son getting involved. In fact, sources say he actually warned his son to back off unless he wanted to get caught in the crossfire. Can you believe that? A father threatening his own son over someone else's beef. Meanwhile, poor Lil Meech is absolutely desperate in 50's DMS, practically begging him to believe that his father isn't a rat. He's sending message after message, trying to convince 50 Cent that he's loyal. But honey, we all know how stubborn 50 can be.
You thought you were special. You really thought you were special. Who told you you were special?
Let me spill the tea about how this whole mess started. Picture this. 50 Cent and Big Meech weren't just friends, they were actually business partners. But you know what they say about mixing friendship and money? It never ends well. The drama exploded when Big Meech, fresh out of prison, decided to team up with Rick Ross for this huge welcome home concert planned for February 2025. Now, let me give you some background on Big Meech because this story is absolutely wild. Before he got locked up, Big Meech was running one of the most notorious criminal enterprises in America. He and his brother Terry, aka Southwest T, were the masterminds behind the Black Mafia family. We're talking about an empire that dominated from the 80s all the way to the early 2000s. They weren't just dealing in illegal activities, they had their fingers in everything, including the music industry. But in 2005, everything came crashing down. The FBI and DEA swooped in like hawks, raiding BMF safe houses left and right. They seized millions in assets, weapons, cash, you name it. The big bust led to arrests of all the top dogs, including Big Meech and Southwest T themselves. The charges were serious, honey. We're talking conspiracy to distribute massive amounts of drugs, money laundering, the works. When the dust settled in 2008, both brothers were slapped with 30-year sentences. Can you imagine? They had built this empire worth over $270 million, and just like that, poof, it was all gone. Whatever money wasn't seized probably went straight to those expensive lawyers and supporting their families while they were behind bars. So here's the tea about Big Meech's first move after getting out. He immediately linked up with Rick Ross for this concert that would at least put some cash in his pockets. I mean, he's probably waiting for his cut from the next season of the BMF series, but bills don't wait, right? Speaking of the BMF series, let me fill you in on this fascinating situation. This show is literally telling the real-life story of Big Meech and Southwest T. And get this, Big Meech's own son, Demetrius Flenor Jr., aka Lil Meech, is playing his father. The role of Southwest T went to this actor named Da Vinci. But here's where it gets really interesting. 50 Cent isn't just involved, he's the executive producer. His company, G-Unit Films, is one of the production companies making this happen. Now there's this woman named Tammy Cowens who's also co-producing. She's the one Big Meech sold his life rights to. Nobody really knows the exact details of their deal, but word is Big Meech gets a slice of the pie from the show. The problem is, with no announcement about the next season's release date, that money isn't coming anytime soon. Hence, the Rick Ross collaboration. But honey, 50 Cent saw this whole situation very differently. In his eyes, Big Meech working with Rick Ross was nothing short of betrayal. Why? Because Rick Ross used to be a correctional officer. And you know 50, he's still calling him Officer Ricky after all these years. When 50 saw Big Meech all buddy-buddy with Rick Ross, he absolutely lost it. He took to Instagram and called Big Meech a rat. Can you believe it? He posted this shady message saying it was the biggest mistake he ever made, not keeping up his relationship with Tammy Cowens, and hinted at some tell-all documentary that would reveal the truth. He wasn't done either. He posted another photo saying the truth and nothing but the truth, and added this cryptic message about how the facts are stranger than fiction. Everyone was scratching their heads, wondering what 50 could possibly mean. Who exactly is this Tammy Cowens, and what secrets was 50 threatening to expose? Well, darling, let me tell you, it all ties back to Big Meech's early release from prison. Remember how I mentioned he got a 30-year sentence back in 2008? Well, people started asking questions about how he got out so early. That's when the whispers started, rumors that Big Meech had made a deal with the feds, snitching on someone else to get his freedom. And apparently, Tammy Cowens was the one who helped arrange this whole deal. According to the streets, the deal involved Big Meech having to set someone else up for the feds to arrest. And guess who he chose? His friend and longtime business partner, St. Louis drug kingpin Dion Gatling, known as Cuffy. Now, this wasn't just some casual business relationship. Big Meech and Cuffy were close, like family close. Big Meech was practically an uncle to Cuffy's daughter, Tamara Gatling. When Tamara came forward with the truth, it was like a bomb dropped. She revealed how devastated their family was when they discovered Big Meech's betrayal. But here's the real kicker. She said Big Meech wasn't working alone. His partner in crime, none other than federal informant Tammy Cowens herself.
Tamara Gatling, I'm making this recording in regards to my dad. He's Dion Gatling. Most people know him as Cuffy. But I wanted to make this recording so I can shed light on some facts. My dad was set up by one of his best friends, which is Demetrius Flannery, also known as Big Meech. My dad and Meech have been friends for 30 years plus. I've known Meech my whole life. I look at him like an uncle. Like, this situation has been completely devastating on so many different levels, and there's still so many questions that aren't answered. At this point, I can only shed light on what I know for sure to be facts, and hopefully one day I will have the complete truth. But in 2011, around that time, Meech reached out to my dad in regards to creating a BMF movie. So Meech hooked my dad up with a woman named Tammy Cowens. At the time, Tammy was Meech's power of attorney. Also, she owned the life rights. So my dad was working with Meech, Tammy, T, basically trying to work on a movie. Finally arrested my dad and we received the discovery. He knew exactly who CS1 was, and he told me and my mom that it was Tammy Cowens. At that time, we really did not want to believe. We wanted to give Meech the benefit of the doubt. It was really, really hard to believe that Meech would set my dad up. It was almost unbelievable. So we were able to like reach out, get a message to Meech, and basically let him know that Tammy was an informant. We later received a message from him saying that it had to be a misunderstanding. Just call her, she'll straighten this out, so on, so on. And at this time, my dad was like, I'm not dumb, I'm not about to call an informant.
Well, it seems 50 Cent had absolutely reached his limit with Big Meech's behavior. Here's Big Meech claiming loyalty to 50 while simultaneously working with Rick Ross, who 50 believes is another government informant. The drama reached new heights when 50 dropped a bombshell. He announced the BMF series wouldn't be coming back for another season. But it gets even juicier. 50 decided to expose his private messages with Lil Meech by posting screenshots. In these messages, poor Lil Meech was desperately trying to defend his father. He explained that the only reason his dad worked with Rick Ross was for the money, not to betray 50. The messages were heartbreaking. They just told me you unfollowed me off Instagram. I would take the shirt off my back for you. I can't believe this. You act as if I'm your enemy. I've only showed you love and loyalty. That's when 50's son, Marquise Jackson, decided to stir the pot by mocking Lil Meech for thinking he was somehow special to 50.
I woke up today and I had this overwhelming thought in my head. And I think like something is telling me to tell y'all or share this message with y'all. Cause I feel like it's somebody out here, or maybe there's a bunch of people out here that need to hear this. And it was like, you thought you were special.
You really thought you were special? Who told you you were special?
But here's the real tea about 50 and his son. Their relationship has been rocky for years. Marquis was actually raised by his mother, Shaniqua Tompkins, after she and 50 split up. What followed was this absolutely nasty custody battle that dragged on until 2008. During this whole mess, 50 opened up to MTV about how his relationship with his son was suffering because he and Shaniqua weren't on speaking terms anymore. 50 spilled the details, saying he had to go through lawyers just to talk to his own son. He threw some serious shade at Shaniqua, hinting that she had expensive habits and wasn't handling the transition well when the money stopped flowing. The whole situation was so toxic that 50's bad feelings toward Marquis's mother spilled over onto his son. He was convinced both of them were just after his money. The court finally worked out this arrangement where 50 got to see Marquis one weekend every month, plus they'd split holidays and vacations. But according to People magazine, even though 50 kept paying child support until Marquis turned 18, they've been estranged for years. In 2017, Marquis opened up about the whole situation in this heartbreaking interview with Wrap Up. He revealed that things started going downhill when he was around 10 or 11. Can you imagine? He said, "Growing up, my dad was my superhero. He's on television, he does this, he does that. But then as I got older, you start realizing things or seeing certain patterns." The poor guy couldn't even remember the last time he and his father had a real conversation, but it gets even worse. In 2018, 50 left this absolutely shocking comment on a photo of Marquis with the son of his rival, Kenneth Supreme McGriff. He actually wrote that if both boys got hit by a bus, he wouldn't have a bad day. People were absolutely outraged. Although sources later claimed that Marquis does these things deliberately to get under his father's skin, saying he'll seek out anyone 50's feuding with just to post pictures with them. The situation hit rock bottom in October 2022 when Marquis made this desperate plea on social media. He offered to pay his father $6,700, the exact amount of his monthly child support, for just 24 hours of his time. He wanted to do all the things they never got to do when he was a kid. It was absolutely heartbreaking, and everyone could see it was a cry for help. But 50, he didn't even respond.
I don't even know if a sit down can actually restore the situation. It's just more so it's an olive branch. Like, if you up for it, I'm up for it. I'm definitely willing to sit down with him and so I can hear his perspective and gain a little bit of understanding. I mean, like, we're both men at the end of the day. We should be able to agree and disagree and it not be a problem. He believes that, from his perspective, he thinks I'm entitled when that's not the case. Like, it's never been about the money for me. It's more so the relationship and for me personally, like, it's more so for the relationship more than the money to me, because if it's about the money, then I'm willing to put it up to make at least make the situation a little bit better if possible. Honestly, I don't know what to expect from this situation. If we do have a sit down, I don't necessarily know what to expect or what it looks like. But if it takes me paying him for his time, I'm more than willing to do that. Maybe we could just gain understanding of each other. Maybe we could understand each other a little bit better. And maybe that's what a better situation looks like.
When 50 Cent finally addressed the situation on The Breakfast Club, his response was ice cold. He straight up said there was no point trying to fix things with his son. The relationship was beyond saving.
Your son wants to sit down with you.
No, he doesn't. See, Charlamagne, you would call me. You don't call TMZ to say you want to sit down. Think about it, man. You know, you want some attention. You know? And it's okay, you can have as much of that as you want. You know, it's just like he's been trained to believe what you see him say in that interview, that what he was saying, he's been trained to believe that for a long time, bro. Like, you don't just wake up and say, oh, well, I don't believe what I've been believing forever. You know what I mean? Like, when I said that he's entitled, really it's his mom's entitlement. It's been filtered. $1 million, right? And have zero respect for you. How much you think you got to give them before they have a little bit?
Damn. Damn.
See what I'm saying? It's not gonna, the relationship, I don't think that works.
Damn. So you would never be open to it?
No, I don't think the relationship works. I'm not, look, for a long time, Charlamagne, I've been running behind him. I went places that he went and he left the places. You You see what I'm saying? And then there's I went to, even the text messages that was out. If y'all get a chance to look at them, that's me talking to his mother, because his mother's texting me through his phone. You see what I'm saying? So I said the thing that I said, knowing that this is her responding to me. And it looks a little rough for him, for what I'm saying to him, but it's the circumstances of, look, what's the penalty of you not following the order?
After that brutal interview, Marquis poured his heart out on Instagram. His words were absolutely devastating. Now y'all see, I tried to reach out to talk to my pops as a man in front of the world and behind the scenes. He revealed that he couldn't even contact his father directly, no phone number, blocked on social media, and everyone they both knew was too scared to get involved. I'm not a kid anymore. No mommy involved, Marquis wrote. I don't want or need money from you. I stand on my own 2 feet. He called out his father's Breakfast Club interview, saying it showed no accountability, just ego and blame shifting. Then he dropped this emotional bombshell about waiting outside to meet his father. That was the day you broke my heart. I forgave you for it. I'm ready when you're ready to sit down and talk. And now with all this drama between Big Meech and 50 Cent exploding, Marquis is doing what he always does, trying to get his father's attention by jumping into whatever drama 50's involved in. But 50 Cent isn't having any of it. He's warning his son to stay out of his business, treating him like he's just another opponent in his endless string of feuds. The streets are buzzing about whether 50's being too harsh on his son or if Marquis is crossing lines by getting involved in his father's beefs. But one thing's crystal clear. This father-son relationship is as complicated and messy as they come, and neither side seems ready to wave the white flag. Looking at how this whole situation's playing out, from the BMF drama with Big Meech and Rick Ross, to 50's son Marquis trying to get his father's attention, to Lil Meech desperately trying to save his family's show, it's like watching a real-life soap opera unfold. And honestly, with 50 Cent involved, who knows what explosive twist might come next? And there you have it, folks. A story about loyalty, betrayal, family drama, and the price of fame, all wrapped up in one messy package. The question remains, will these fathers and sons ever find their way back to each other, or is this just another chapter in their ongoing sagas? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're here, don't forget to check out this next video.